Hello everybody. In our last episode we delved again into the museum's collection of settler portraits. And there's plenty more where they came from. So let's get cracking with Settlers in Store Volume 3. These three portraits of members of the Kirkland family, matriarch Jane, son Alexander and daughter Margaret, hang in our portrait gallery. But there are paintings and coloured photographs of three other members of the Kirkland family not on display: Father William, son James, and daughter Mary. The family of six arrived together on the ship Maori in 1852. William had purchased land near Green Island, where he would establish a farm named Town End. The family would grow crops and raise a herd of dairy cows there. Alexander, who was usually known as Sandy, started managing the farm in the 1860s. He was assisted by his sister Margaret, who would become known for producing Dunlop cheese, a type of cheese that originated in the village of Dunlop in East Ayrshire, about 15 kilometres north of Kilmarnock, where the Kirklands were from. Soon, 3 to 4 tonnes of cheese were being produced annually for sale in Dunedin. Other son James became a farmer in the district too, and his wife Janet would also become known for manufacturing quality Dunlop cheese. Mary also lived not far away, having married renowned horticulturalist and nurseryman William Martin of Fairfield. John Shaw was another farmer who arrived on the Maori in 1852. He had been born in 1812 at a farm in Perthshire named Finnegan. After finishing school, he had entered the legal profession, but soon decided being a lawyer wasn't his cup of tea, and returned to his farming roots. In the early 1850s, after many years of farming in Scotland, he decided to emigrate to New Zealand. He was accompanied by his sister Mary and a shepherd named Murdoch McLean. John selected land for farming on the south bank of the Clutha River, and named the property Finnegan after his birthplace. On a visit to Wellington in 1872, John Shaw married Sarah Jane Taylor, whom he had met during her trips to Dunedin to visit her aunt. He was then 58, and she was less than half his age at 26. They would have 4 children before John passed away in 1894, aged 80. The Finnegan property he named and established is today better known as the home of the freezing works that was built there in 1912. Like the Kirklands, the Warnicks, David and Helen, farmed at Green Island, initially at least. They arrived in Otago via Wellington in March 1854. Also like the Kirklands, the Warnicks established a dairy herd. Soon they were supplying Dunedin with milk. When New Zealand's first livestock show was held in Dunedin as part of the New Zealand exhibition in 1865, David Warnock would be awarded first place in the cow for dairy purposes category. After the gold rushes, the Warnocks moved to Southland. Helen passed away in 1876. One of their children would later become well known as Australasian and South Seas drafts champion after he moved to live in Australia. David Warnock's story ends in Southland in 1902. His body was discovered in a ditch where he had fallen after suffering a fatal heart attack. In our last episode, we looked at Robert Martin and family, who were amongst the earliest European settlers around the South Otago township of Milton. The Reeds were some of their first neighbours. William and Catherine, daughter Jane, son James, and his wife Eliza arrived here on the Royal Albert in March 1853. James didn't survive a year in New Zealand. He passed away in January 1854 and became the first person buried in the Milton Cemetery. He was 33. His sister Jane died 3 years later in 1857, aged 24. A little over a year after James's death, Eliza remarried. She married Thomas Reed, a farmer and coal miner from another clan of Reeds who were also amongst the district's earliest European settlers. Our catalogue suggests the portraits of James and Eliza are by J. Stokold. James Stokold was an artist based in the UK, born in Sunderland, so the portraits would likely have been painted prior to the Reeds' departure for New Zealand. Now I know I promised to hopefully bring you some happier stories than in our last episode, but I can't resist telling you of a dark episode in the life of artist James Stokold. It was 1877. Stokold, aged 50, had been based back in his hometown for the last 18 years. One morning he arrived home drunk. It was a Wednesday. He'd started drinking on Monday, apparently after having read something that had been written about him in the local newspaper. During an argument with his wife, he grabbed a bottle of carbolic acid that had been used for disinfecting clothes and took a swig. In an attempt to counteract the poison, soap and mustard were both administered by those who came to his aid. He sat down in a chair and started to snore. His wife initially kept a close eye on him, but then she too nodded off to sleep. When she eventually woke, James Stokold was dead. That's it for another episode. See you next time, and thanks for watching.